Okay, so now let's look at MCP and how it relates over to artifacts inside of Claude. So MCP, Model Context Protocol. We're going to be able to basically tell Claude, um, we're going to be able to give it all kinds of permissions on things it can execute on my computer, things it can go do in the cloud. You can have it go do web searches, which is actually now just a feature of Claude. But before you had to use like a API key or actually a token from Brave. But I just want to cut right to it because I think once you see it, you'll get a sense of the power, and that's all you need. You just need a little bit of an entry point, right? So what we'll do is I have Claude Desktop installed. I've logged in. I'm going to go up to the File menu, and if you're on Mac, it'll look like this. If you're on Windows, I think it'll say just File. You go to Settings, or actually it'll be just like this actually. And what I want to do is I want to go to Developer. And you're going to see a little button that says Edit Config. And I'm just going to hit that. It's going to take you to your config file. So this is just a JSON file, which is just a text file. Okay, it's no more complicated than that. And I'm just going to open this with something like text. Actually, you'll need to just use like Notepad if you're on Windows. You just want to use a text editor. I'm actually editing this with Chrome or with Cursor, which is, like a, not to overcomplicate things, it's just a simple AI IDE. It's like Visual Studio. You can do cool things with code, and it's a handy app to have. So I'm just going to take, I'm in that file right now. It'll be blank for you. So let's go ahead and just delete that. And you might be asking yourself, well, where do I get this information? Well, what I paste in here is modelcontextprotocol.io has a quick start guide. And it's going to tell you the things I just told you, like how to access that file, where to go. And this is going to give you one right off the gate out of the gates to use, which is giving you access to the files on your hard drive. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to paste it in, and you see here it's basically saying, hey, these are the MCP servers, and the first one here is file system. And I just need to swap out username. So here I'm in my browser or my IDE that has some auto completion, which is really cool. It knows I'm Joe Dearman, so I hit tab. So it's users Joe Dearman desktop, users Joe Dearman downloads, and yeah, I also want documents. Now I went ahead and created a fake sort of data folder for this example. So I'm going to say Joe Dearman / and I think I call it like AI. What did I call it? AI demo content, I think. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's right. Oops, make sure I got that, comma. So these are the file folders that I'm allowing access to. And in fact, just for this demo, I'm just going to limit it to my AI demo content. So I'm going to hit save. And once I hit save, I just need to restart Claude. So open it again. Okay, so it looks like it worked. I click on the little hammer right here in the prompt box, and this is going to tell me my available tools. So it's going to say that there's a create directory tool, there's a directory tree, edit file, get file info. This is super handy stuff. All right. And I'm only going to scratch the surface with this, but I think it's the most practical demo I can show right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, look inside my AI demo folder and make a data visualization of my KPIs. Okay, so in that folder, I can actually show you there's just basically, let me see if I have it available here. Show closing folder. You'll see like feature prioritization, products metrics, roadmap planning, user feedback, and competitive analysis. This is all fake content. But yeah, it's saying, hey, will you allow this? Yep. So let's just see if it first finds the folder. It looks like it's struggling to find the folder. Maybe I put it in wrong. Let's see. Let me look in the AI demo content folder. Okay, so I must have just, I wasn't specific enough, but it figured it out. Okay, so it found product metrics. I tried to save those as simple text files and I messed up in their rich text files, but it should still work. So what it's doing is it's reading that file. So that's all the contents of that file. Now it's looking at my CSV file. And it's just going to basically go through that whole folder and just see what's going on there. Okay, so now it's going to create an artifact. So here you can see it's going to create a KPI dashboard for Q1 2025. and let's just see what we get. So that fake data it's just going to be pretty generic, but I think you'll get a sense of the power here once this is done, is it's actually going to create this visualization. And now I can actually start to think through this in a visual way, this data. So what would have been a flat text file now is this really nice looking, dashboard. So here you can see I've got my active users, again, all fake, but it's up 12% quarter over quarter. Active users 9% quarter over quarter, churn rate and net promoter score, CAC. I get all this stuff, and then boom, I get some nice interactive pie charts. All right, and I also have some interactive little bar charts here, and then there's some key insights. Okay, so then I could say, let's work through the CSV file. Actually, you know what? I think it might be even better to say, like, let's visualize the themes from the user feedback in that folder. Okay, so again, just like before, I can publish this if I want to share this out, or I can just use it as a tool for thinking, which is often what I end up doing, is just like thinking through complex things in this sort of nice visualization. All right, so now it's going to look in that folder. It's going to try to find some user feedback. I've got a fake file in there, and it found it. So you can see that already we're on the right track. It's looking like there's just some generic product feedback, like, oh, I'd like dark mode, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and see what kind of visualization we get for user feedback. Okay, so here we go. We've got sentiment. Basically, we're doing sentiment analysis here. So we've got, 64% positive feedback, 14 negative, 22% neutral. And then I can go in and say, here's the top feature requests, nice visualization, top complaints, load time on dashboard, slow load time, confusing navigation. That's like every single product ever. Feedback word cloud. This word cloud is a little bit falling short here, but you can kind of get the gist of what it's trying to do. And here's some pull quotes. So here's some user quotes, right? Some mixed sentiment, negative sentiment. You get the idea. So let's see. Now let's say, like, let's visualize the roadmap. Okay. So I think I showed you, but there's a bunch of these files. Like, we've got a roadmap planning file, and it's just basically saying what we're doing in the next few quarters. There's product metrics. There's the feature prioritization, and then competitor analysis, which is a CSV file. Let's go ahead and just see what this does. So this is going to help us visualize a roadmap, check the feature prioritization file, get more context. That's interesting. So that basically, it's on its own, it's figuring out how to take that roadmap and then look at feature prioritization and do some sort of basically some pairing to say, hey, this element has some user feedback. So we're going to go ahead and have that have more emphasis. This is just the kind of stuff AI is really good at. It's really good at sort of mapping those finding those patterns, mapping things together for you to strengthen your arguments. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this gives us here. I'm already feeling this is going to be a good one. Okay, so dependencies and risks. So that's nice. Okay, so product roadmap 2025, Q2 through Q4, goal, improve user retention. Let's go ahead and stretch this out a little bit. Actually, I just will shrink my screen a little bit. So you get a Q2 lane, you get a Q3 lane. Actually, it looks like if I just, okay, that's as far as I can go back. If I were not in artifacts mode, I'd actually be able to see more of this, but I'm kind of constrained on my screen here. But I'll just go ahead and scroll down. We've got a legend, so there's high priority down to low priority. Here's some just feedback, your user requests, strategic goals. There's some key initiatives, dependencies, considerations. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, so the way that was designed is actually as a scroll view. So I can just horizontally scroll Q3, Q4. This is nice, actually. I kind of would like to use this kind of stuff in my work anyway. That's kind of nice. Nice way to visualize goals. So I have a bunch of stuff like that. Let's see. Let me just one more time look and see product metrics. let's see, we looked at all of that stuff. We haven't done the competitor analysis. So let's say like, help me think through the competitor analysis. Okay. So again, it's in the context of the thread, so it already kind of knows to go look in that folder. So it's pulling this out, and it already had put it into the context window, so it didn't even have to go back and search again. So it's basically just now in this interface. Let me just go ahead and close this. It's calling out the things in that file. It's giving me some things to think about, some strategic recommendations. But I want to, let's see, visualize this to help me think through it. So again, this is sort of using the artifacts as this, both a powerful communication tool if you want to like share graphs, visuals, interactive things, slides. The other angle is visuals for thinking. And that's one I love to use. I've had some really great ones produced from this workflow where I just could not make sense of a thread I was in. And when I had it visualize and go through like even just sometimes a mind map or a hierarchy of thought, it helps a ton because, not everyone is good at being terse. And so, if you're reading like multi-paragraph, thoughts, it can be really hard to track. This is one way to sort of start to think through things that are otherwise a little bit, hard to think through. So let's go ahead and see what this does though. So that competitor analysis CSV had like 6 competitors on it. So there's not a ton of data there, but let's just see what this makes of it. And sorry, this is kind of product specific. I just thought it would make sense to kind of show how I would use this in a business strategy context. Oops. So occasionally you'll get this, you'll hit an error. It doesn't know that it hit an error, but it does inside of the little artifacts window. So I'll just select this. For whatever reason, it won't let me hit it here. Normally I can just hit it right here and it'll work, but I'll say, it's good to actually for you guys to see that this stuff sometimes fails. There we go. Boom. I had to wait for the prompt to be done. So, you're going to hit errors because sometimes it just is going to miss like a closing basic syntax issues. Like in this case, it just didn't close something. And so, yeah, you'll just fix it, iterate in line, and you'll be able to get through it. So here we've got basically a monthly active users comparison. Okay, so that must have been in the CSV. Pricing versus feature score. That's actually an interesting way to think about it. Scoring features based. Basically, that's what value and then price. Feature comparison matrix. This is cool. I've seen these little spider charts are super helpful for some things. Like this is a great example of why you would use a spider chart, right? See where people are have better positions. Projected monthly active user growth. This is kind of BS. I mean, I'm sure some of it's based on that CSV data, but this isn't always very helpful. And then we've got some competitor strengths and weaknesses, your product, strengths, weaknesses, notable features, all through all the different products. And then some strategic recommendations. So I just took that CSV file and now I have this interactive visual that I can basically walk through the data and think through it. Nothing's been super made up here. Some of these projections might be. I guess this is based on the roadmap. But the rest of this is just the simple CSV file. And now I'm actually getting like a prepared report that's visual. So I was able to do all of this with MCP. Now I could have just been pasting stuff in the old ways, but like, Greg mentioned, hey, I have all these notes for the business that I want to be able to sort of iterate through, parse. Imagine that folder. Let's see if I go back, imagine this AI demo content folder. Imagine if this was, 3,000 files. Can you imagine the depth that you'd be able to pull using this workflow, the MCP workflow? It can go back and search, add it to the context window, go back, search, add it back to the context window, and be building out a real true in-depth summary for you on some of these things. So needless to say, it's an incredibly powerful workflow. It all sort of can live inside of this artifacts work. But I'm only just scratching the surface. I mean, frankly, there are so many ways you can use MCP. Like I told you, I'm starting whole repos. I'm looking through my code on GitHub using this same workflow. You can search the web using this workflow, which now that's just a native thing of Claude Desktop. But before you had to plug into Brave's, you had to make a Brave token. It's truly powerful. If you don't like these visuals, by the way, you could say like make this presentation look like Apple made it. Okay, so this is Apple. I literally could have predicted. I had it in my head when I said that it looked black and white. But it does look very Apple-y. It is very nice. Yep, now they're using glyphs. Just strong glyphs is an Apple thing. Yep, this does look really nice. But you get a vibe, right? And I actually think this matches Greg's company's vibe. So anyway, I'm going to cut it short. Appreciate you watching. Let me know any questions where I need to go a little deeper. There's a couple tricks in this workflow, but the rest is easy.